Ayan. So we're already live. YouTube, those who cannot join via Google Meet, limited yung ating load. You can watch us YouTube live through PCCE channel. So you subscribe first and watch all available videos posted. We will also posting some videos for your majorship or mathematics, science or general science or biology, physics or MAPE, and a lot more. So just tune in to our PCCE channel. All right? So sa Google Meet, dalawa na lang yung natira. So I hope some can join. Are you still admitting Miss Ems? All right, can I share now my discussion for this afternoon is professional education. Medyo tutok tayo sa proof ed kasi napaka-importante ng proof ed. Napaka-importanting sanay sa pag-intindi ng mga konsepto sa professional education kasi 40% yan ng board exam content. Okay? Plus more, kailangan din natin tutukan yung majorship natin if you have. So again, I have to repeat, yung coverage ng general ed is Gen Ed, BE Ed pala is 40% general education, 60% proof ed. Alright? Yun naman sa may majorship, BS Ed or secondary ed, you have only 20% general education, but you have 40% proof ed, and another 40% will come from your majorship. Alright? So, bagong lahat, I'll promote my newly workbook. Please give me a copy, Miss Ems, yung workbook, isang copy ng workbook. So, I'm going to give you some, ito yung sample ng ating workbook. So, if you can have this copy sa atin, sa mga naka-enroll dyan, this is already free. Sa hindi naka-enroll, you can buy this for 500 pesos, pero free ang discussion. You can join the discussion. Yung mga outsider na hindi enrolled. Okay, sa atin naka-enrolled, free ito. And those who wants to order, they have to message us on our Facebook account and PCCE page. Alright? And then, of course, they can enroll online. Even they are in Antique, they're from Boracay, they're from Washington, repeater man siya, nakakuha na ng board exam, at saka kung galing man siya Maynila or Zamboanga, they can join our enrollment here in Iloilo and join our online class. Alright? So welcome Chini Ryu. Alright? So let's present now the discussion for today. Our class again is about professional education. And this is all about different questions in proof ed. Medyo halo-halo na. Kasi practice test na to, nag-specialize tayo last time. Ngayon, medyo halo-halo na siya. Alright? So, sandali lang, we have to present first our slides for professional education. This is 50 items because if you have observed guys, I am presenting this with discussion. So, yung some examination by YouTube ay dinidiscuss lamang ng pagbibigay ng answer key. Sa atin naman, hindi pwede kasi we need to discuss further the concept para maintindihan natin. You can ask questions if you want. And mas maigi kung maintindihan ng lahat kasi may mga konsepto sa mga Facebook na nakukuha yung mga questions, hindi naman lahat doon tama yung sagot. So yung maganda kasi nina-rationalize natin, you can actually see the difference of the discussion. Alright? So, practice test for professional education. So please tell me if you can see the slides. You please inform me by turning on your microphone. Arlene, can you see the slides?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so let's proceed. So this is practice test 1 discussion. But before that, I will give you some trivia. So if you see every start of our discussion, let's give a bit of information for you to know. Okay? Okay, trivia number 1. So technically, our ears and noses continue to grow throughout our lives. This is due to physiologic, this is not due rather to physiologic, rather physics factor. So as gravity pulls the cartilages of our ears and nose down, stretching the skin and giving the impression of growth. So we could have made a reference to that Sinfield episode about rhinoplasty. But we guess everybody has already seen it by now. Fruit flies attract their mates by pooping. So, when nothing else works, you know what to do. All right, next one. All right, this is already the first item of the discussion. Number 1, parenting style influences children's development. Read the following parents' remarks for their children, then answer the question. Okay, may tatlo tayong, ilang parents ba yan? We have 4 parents. Parent C tells her child, you should do it my way or else there's no discussion. Parent D tells her husband, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your child is? Parent E tells her child, you know you should have not done that. Let's talk about it so you can handle the situation better next time. Parent F tells her child, you may do what you want. You will always be here for you, no matter what you do. Now, the question is, which parenting style is authoritarian? Is it A, which is teacher D, B, which is teacher F, C, which is teacher E, or D, which is teacher C? Your answer should be letter D, which is the parent C. Bakit siya authoritarian? Kasi sabi niya, you should do it my way or else there's no discussion. So well-known tayo sa Filipino na authoritarian style yung parenting natin. Bakit? Kasi yung mga parents gusto talaga nila masunod ng mga kabataan. Bakit ano ba yung iba't ibang parenting style? Mayroon namang parents kasi na maluwag. So yung tinatawag na parents na they're giving their children freedom to make choices. So, pumapasok dun yung mga konsepto ng education. So, but we are known because of our influences from Spain, we are known for being authoritarian here in the Philippines. Sa Amerika, iba din yung parenting style nila. So, there's no point of comparison. The most important thing is that whether you punish the child or not, you know what what you're going to the child, pinagsisigawan mo siya, pinapunish mo siya. The most important thing is the child understood why is it a parent should do that to them. All right? Very important yung diskusyon sa bahay. So sa amin namang bahay, sometimes authoritarian din ako, but sometimes I allow them to speak out. But yet there are some kids who misinterpret their parents. Kaya nga iba yung naglalayas, gano'n. But no matter what, yung nanay talaga at saka yung tatay, they want the best for their children. Alright? So let's proceed to question number 2. If a resilient child with superior intelligence is reared in a poor environment, the probable outcome would be A, no change in IQ because environment deprivation has nothing to do with intelligence. B, mental retardation since he is culture deprived. C, slight change in IQ, although he can overcome frustration and obstacle. Or D, great change in IQ because he is culturally deprived. Alright, isa-isahin natin yung choices natin. Yung bata reared in a very poor environment, pero superior yung intelligence ng bata. Apektado ba siya? Okay, ano bang outcome sa bata na napakahirap ng buhay niya, sana matalino. Kaya lang, wala siyang resources around the child. So, no change in IQ because environment deprivation has nothing to do with intelligence. Pwede. Pero, alam nyo, class, merong effect yung environment push sa bata. Okay? B, mental retardation. That's not correct. C, slight change in IQ, although he can overcome frustration of the obstacle. And the correct answer is letter C. Slight change in IQ. Pero hindi talaga mawawala yung IQ. Pag matalino ang bata, matalino siya. Kahit poor ang environment. Remember people, yung konsepto natin between nature and pag sinasabi nating nature, the child is naturally intelligent. Alright? Dalawang bata, kambal sila, they're both intelligent. Superior yung intelligence ng bata. Dalawa sila, twin. The other twin is raised in a poor family. The other twin is raised in a rich family. Ngayon, given the same level of intelligence, sino yung mag-excel? Pwede din mag-excel yung pag enough yung supported yung environment ng bata with full resources, mas mataas yung chances na mag-excel siya. So, sa atin, we can compare that. Sabi nila, ang mahirap doon, napakahirap din mag-aral. Kasi sabi nila, mahirap pag gutom mag-aral. Totoo naman yun. Napakahirap talaga mag-aral kung gutom ka kasi mahirap ka nga. Pero wag naman, sabi naman ng iba, poverty is not a hindrance to success. Tama din yun. Pero pag gutom na gutom talagang apektado ka. Which you can perform better if you are physiologically prepared. When you say physiologically prepared, pumunta ka ng school, nakapag-breakfast ka, maganda may baon ka, i-compare mo sa bata na pumunta ng school, walang baon, hindi nakapag-breakfast, or nakapag-breakfast man, tutong lang, or maliit lang na kanin. So, may difference doon. And that is what will, the effect of environment will come in. So, alam natin yung physiological need, very important for the child. So, sa bahay namin when we were small, we are not allowed to go to school without eating our breakfast. Kahit late ka, you have to eat your breakfast. Because my mother will always tell us that's the most important meal of the day. Alright? Totoo yan. Kasi it will set the mood and everything for your day activity. Third question. Based on Bandura's theory, which condition must be present for a student to learn from a model? Okay, if you remember Albert Bandura's concept, ito yung tinatawag nating social learning. So pag naisip mo si Bandura, ikabit mo sa pangalan ni Bandura yung tinatawag nating social learning. What is social learning? So gawan ko ng clue, gaya-gaya putumaya. Lahat ng nakikita ng bata sa matatanda, lahat yun para sa kanila ay tama. So, that is social learning by Bandura. Sugarol yung parents, ano yung bata? Sugarol din. Nagsisigaw yung nanay, mga pangit na pinagsisigaw. The child will adopt that kind of speaking. So, yun gaya-gaya. Okay? So, now, ang tanong is, which condition must be present for the student to learn from a model? Number one, nakikinig ng bata, there is attention. Pasok siya. Second, there is retention. Dahil natin may attention sa ang bata na ibinigay, magre-retain yun sa mind niya, most especially if that thing is paulit-ulit. And then of course, motor reproduction, motivation, and the fourth, pasok lahat yan. So the correct answer, therefore, yun, naka-highlight, it's letter C, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, tandaan natin na lahat nating ginagawa sa bahay, pag may bata, tinitingnan niya yan. O sinungaling yung nanay namin. O sinungaling. That's why you cannot make broken promises to your children. Kasi, tinatandaan niya yun. So, kung ang nanay pwedeng magsinungaling, I'll tell you, the next time we will do the sinungaling is also your children. Okay? Next one. Number 4. In planning for instruction, can a teacher begin with assessment? Yun, very common na tanong. Pwede ba test muna bago lesson? Or lesson agad, tapos test? Alright? The answer is yes. Because when you do instruction, you first begin with the entry knowledge or skill. So that one is called diagnostic exam. So the correct answer is letter B, yes, to determine the entry knowledge or skill. Okay, very common question. Pero paulit-ulit natin itong tinatanong because board exam are always repeated questions from the different from different books. So sabi niya po, kasi nga, yun yung tinatawag natin na review. Alright? So, pag nasanay ka na, parang, ay, napaka-familiar na sa akin ang tanong na to. Number 5, other than finding on how well the course competencies were met, Teacher Kathy also wants to know her students' performance when compared with each other in the country. What is Teacher Kathy interested to do? Alright? Is that formative evaluation, authentic evaluation, norm reference evaluation, criterion reference evaluation? Formative evaluation talk about quizzes. But once your score, sa limbawa natin yung NAC or National Achievement Test, norm reference yun. Bakit norm reference? You are being evaluated, your performance is being evaluated based on the performance of other students for the in the entire country. So, yun. Yung sinasabi ko, ang norm reference evaluation is based on the performance of the group. Yung criterion reference evaluation naman, this is an evaluation with preset standards or criteria. So, yun yung difference. So, pag actual board exam, nakita mo to yung question nito, you can immediately see na it's not formative, it's not authentic, it's norm reference evaluation kasi wala naman siyang preset standard, hindi din siyang criterion reference evaluation. So, ang tamang sagot is norm reference. Next question. What should you do to get the child's attention when she or he is distracted by an object in the room? Alright? Common to sa mga preschoolers natin, guys. Bakit? Yung preschoolers natin, once they have distraction inside the classroom, nawawala sila sa focus. Alright? So, meron mga scenario dyan. Ang tawag dito ay SATA. This is a type of questions na very common the actual board exam. When you say SATA, select all that applies. Ang kahirapan dito is that dapat tama yung choices mo. Kasi pipili ka ulit sa ilalim ng A, B, C, D or sa multiple choice na provided. Alright? So, SATA, let's try. 1. Call him by his name and tell him to pay attention. 2. Put away the distracting influence. Or 3. Involve him in helping with an activity. Alright? What's your answer? Parang mali dito ang sagot, ha? Him by his name and tell him to pay attention. Okay? Put away the distracting influence. 3. Involve him in helping with an activity. Parang tama ang number 1. Pwede mo siyang tawagin as a first one. Okay? Sandali. Kasi mali yung sagot yata. Okay, ito. Call him by his name and tell him to pay attention. Put away the distracting influence. Tama din ang number 2. Number 3, involve him in helping with an activity. Okay. Yes, if there is an activity. So, the correct answer there is 1, 2, and 3. Alright. So, ito yon. The correct answer there is letter D, hindi A. Papalitan natin yan later. So, it's letter D. Bakit? Kung simula pa lang yung misbehavior ng bata sa klase, hindi mo kailangan sigawan. Okay? You can call his by name or pwede kang gumamit ng tinatawag nating signal interferences. What are the example of signal interferences? You look at her, and that is eye contact, or you snap your finger towards her or him, or you clear your throat to breathing. So, pasok din yon sa distracted na child. Pero, kung tuloy-tuloy, pwede mo nang kunin yung distracting influences. For example, ano mga distraction? Mga seductive objects, sinatawag nila. Cellphone is a seductive object inside the classroom. Ano pa? Mga laruan ng friends, seductive object yon. So, para din ma-divert ang attention niya, you can involve him in helping with an activity. So, the correct answer here is letter D. Please note that That is not the correct answer, ang A. So it's letter D, delta. Number 7. Which statement on true authority is wrong? Okay? So when you say authority, what is correct and what is wrong? Authority sets an example. Okay, check. So all three is correct except one, and that is wrong. B. It seeks its own satisfaction and privilege. C. It acts rather in the best interest of others. And D. Its goal is to help, form, and guide others. The correct answer is letter B. Obviously, it's not authority when you only think about yourself. Yourself, just me, myself, and I. That's very egocentric and selfish. All right? So you have to think about when you have an authority, whether inside the classroom or at home or in the workplace, you always think about others before yourself. All right? That's the essence of authority, and that is to serve. And that is also power. Okay? So yung iba naman kasi, yung mga buaya sa gobyerno natin, they seek their own satisfaction and privileges. All right? Number 8. Which statement on wait time is correct? Okay. First, before I proceed to the choices or the options, let's discuss about what is wait time. Okay. When you say wait time, this is normally used when a teacher inside the classroom strike a question. Okay. Bigyan ko kayo ng scenario kasi sa klase, pag ang teacher nag-a-ask ng question, tapos yung estudyante, hindi makasagot, pinagtatawanan, ganon. It is a must, and this is a very good questioning technique, that a teacher should have seconds to wait before the student can answer. What is the purpose of wait time? For the student to at least think about what will be the correct answer. Kasi alam natin, hindi lahat fast learners. Hindi lahat ng mga estudyante sa klase can immediately answer the question. Ang kagandahan ng wait time, you give chances to the slow learners to think about their answers. All right. So now choices is A. The higher the level of the question, the longer the wait time. Not necessarily, pero pwede. Wait time turns off slow thinking student. And say for quality response, what and why call wait time? Or D. Wait time discourages the brighter group of students. Okay. So again, the correct answer is it gives time or moment for the slow thinking students to know or to discuss or to formulate their answer. So number 9, which illustrate vicarious punishment. All right. But before we going to the options, let's discuss first what we will say vicarious punishment. Okay, when you say vicarious punishment, or sometimes we call that vicarious reinforcement, yung bata sa klase na binigyan mo ng reward, halimbawa, early bird, nagbigay si teacher ng lollipop, early bird si Isabel, may lollipop siya. So yung mga classmate niya, magsasabi niya na, wow, next day umaga, mas maaga ako kaysa kay Isabel kasi I need a lollipop. Parang ripple effect din siya. So, kaya lang yung tanong natin, vicarious punishment. Ganon din sa vicarious punishment. Halimbawa ako, maingay ako sa klase. So, pinatayo ako ng teacher as a punishment. So, may effect din yun sa kaklase ko. Sabi nila, hindi na ako mag-ingay kasi baka ako din ipapunish. Okay, that is the concept of what we call vicarious punishment. But the original of that is a vicarious reinforcement. Could be done positive or negative. All right. Now, let's talk about letter A. We feel so bad to a classmate who is punished for being tardy, so we convince him to go to school on time. Okay? So, for me, it's not vicarious. Letter B. Out of comparison, we volunteer to get punished in place of a friend. Hindi din siya vicarious. What about letter C? We charge the experience or being punished. So that is not also an answer. Letter D. See someone get punished for habitual tardiness. In effect, we are less likely tardy. So the correct answer is letter D. May epekto pala sa'yo yung punishment sa ibang tao. Okay, that is what we call vicarious punishment. Alright? So, sa mga proof ed classes ng iba, hindi to dinidiscuss. Masyado lang sila A, B, C. Ayaw ko ng ganun. It should be that students should understand fully what the concept is all about. Kasi pag board exam, pinalitan yung pattern of questioning. So pag pinalitan yung pattern of questioning, nawawala ka. So that's more important than what you think is better. So ito, ang discussion natin, dinidiscuss natin isa-isa. Alright? Number 10, both Muslim and Christians value marriage, but the Muslim practices polygamous marriage while the Christian practices monogamous marriage. This has been given to you, I guess, previously. So what is this called? All right. We have 4 options, which is cultural relativism, acculturation, ethical relativism. We have enculturation. All right. Muslims are known to be polygamous. What is polygamous practices? Yung polygamous, pero Muslim lalaki lang yung polygamous, ha? Yung babae, hindi pwede. So, they can have marriage 4 times as long as they can afford to sustain or to support. So, yun yung mga Muslim. Baka ang iba dyan, baka si Joshua mag-iisip na mag-Muslim para polygamous siya. Pero ang babae, hindi polygamous sa Muslim. On the other hand, sa Christian, monogamy tayo. When you say monogamous, we must only have one husband and one wife. Okay? Walang excuses yun. So, pag extra ka na, tawag sa'yo kabit na. Alright? So, kung ang lalaki ng babae, ang tawag doon concubinage. Pag ang babae ng lalaki, ang tawag naman doon is adultery. Alright? So, baka mali-mali ha, huwag nating tawagin lahat na ang pagpakikiapid ay isang adultery. Lalaki, concubinage. Pag ang babae yung naghanap ng ibang lalaki, that is adultery. Alright? So, choice number 1. Ano bang tawag dito? Is that cultural relativism, which is the correct answer? Acculturation, ethical relativism, and enculturation. The correct answer is cultural relativism. What do you mean when you say cultural relativism? Ibig sabihin, our culture differs from one another. It varies depending on the place, the value system, and a sort of ethnicity or a country where you came from. Alright? So, halimbawa, yung mga Japanese people, once they are frustrated or become dishonorable, they commit harakiri. So, when you say harakiri, honorable suicide yon. Why? Because to regain their honor. Okay? That's what you call cultural relativity. Okay? Our culture is relative whenever or where it operates. Alright? Ang second concept is acculturation. When you say acculturation, this is borrowing another culture. Alright? So, halimbawa, tayong mga Pilipino, kumain ng noodles, kasi naglalantaw tayo kay Oppa, ano pa tawag doon? Korean drama, masyadong mataas yung influences to eat noodles at saka yung pagkain na talagang nilalamon yung the entire noodles at saka tahigop-higop pa. That is an influence. And so when we practice that, that is already part of what we call acculturation. Alright? Ano naman yung ethical relativism? Yung ethical relativism, on the other hand, medyo related sa cultural relativism. Pero pag descriptive siya, just like our question, Muslim and Christian value marriage in different perspective, that is cultural. Magiging ethical lang siya kung, example, pag ang pattern of questioning, sinasabi niya, ang dapat isa lang yung asawa dahil bawal sa Biblia. That is ethical relativism. Can you see the difference, guys? So, yun yung tinatawag nating cultural versus ethical relativity. Ano naman tinatawag nating enculturation? When you say enculturation, sabi ko kanina yung acculturation is borrowing another culture. Ang enculturation naman, when we are having our own culture to be learned. Halimbawa, you're going to school, you learn how to speak Hiligaynon, you learn how to sing the kundiman That is enculturation, learning our own culture. Acculturation, learning another culture. So I hope it's clear. And we're going to proceed to number 11. Number 11, the authoritarian setting in the Filipino home is reinforced by a classroom teacher who is blank. A. Open to suggestions. B. Encourage pupils to ask questions. C. Prescribe what people should do. Or D. Ask open-ended questions. So obviously the correct answer is letter C. When you are authoritarian, you are prescribing what the people should do. Okay? So ito yon, naranasan ko to, yung talagang pag late ka, pag madumi ang kuko mo, parang hinahampas ka, parang hindi ka makasagot, naiiyakan na, sinisigawan ka ng teacher. It was so teacher-oriented. Again, class, pag authoritarian, teacher-oriented. Pag facilitating, learner-oriented. So, napakaganda yung konsepto na to. Bakit? Mas mong difference. Kasi itong ngayon, dati may punishment. Ngayon, wala na. Bakit? Kasi authoritarian dati. An authoritarian is a disciplinist point of view. Pero itong makabago nating pag-aaral ay nagiging facilitating na siya. If you have observed, a teacher only facilitates learning. So yung student mismo will do a lot of work. Okay? Mag-share. So in fact, some teacher can manage their own learning processes by just giving an activity to the student. Dati hindi. That's why uso dati si teacher may stick kasi magtuturo talaga siya. Oh, A for apple, B for ball. Mga ganon. Alright? So that's the difference between authoritarian versus facilitating. Number 12. Which of the UNESCO's 4 pillars of education is most related to peace education? All right? So, very obvious. We're talking about peace. We're talking about relationship. Basta relationship, that is learning to live together. And that is letter C. Learning to do talks about competencies or skills. Learning to know talks about information or knowledge. Learning to be holistic or a holistic fulfillment of the individual. Okay? Napakadaling i-identify. Number 13. 13. After having been humiliated by his teacher, a student evaluates the teacher very poorly despite teacher's excellent performance. Which trait is illustrated by the student behavior, particularism, rationalism, personalism, impersonalism. All right? The correct answer is letter C, personalism. Why personalism? Yung namimersonal ka. That's a very common definition of personalism. Halimbawa, yung boyfriend mo nananakit sa iyo at talagang nasaktan ka ng gusto, who broke up with you, nagiging estudyante mo yung anak niya. So, ang galit mo sa ama niya, ibinuntun mo sa anak niya. That's what you call personalism. But may additional, extreme personalism. Alright? So, ano naman yung impersonalism? Impersonalism is business lang. Walang personalan. Wala akong pakialam sa inyo kasi guro ako, estudyante kita. Yun lang relasyon natin. That one is called impersonalism. Alright? Ano naman yung tinatawag na rationalism? Rationalism is based on reason. Okay, being rational is being reasonable. So, pag rationalism point of view, napakaganda nito na konsepto ng philosophy ng education kasi you base things by reason. Ang opposite nito is irrational, being irrational. So, dogs are irrational, human being are rational. Alright? Dog are having sex on the street. So, pag ang tao gumagawa ng ganyan, siguro naging irrational na siya. Okay? Particularism, very focused on particular thing. Halimbawa, yung teacher, focus lang siya sa isang talent ng kanyang estudyante. Sabi niya, ito particular lang ako sa handwriting niya or sa the manner. So that one is called particularism. Alright? So, ang dami-dami natin kasi yung filosofiya may encounter sa classroom teacher. And for everybody to know, it wasn't easy to become a professional teacher. You should live with the concept napaka-easy ng board exam question kung lahat na natutunan natin dito ay ina-adapt mo sa buhay mo. Kasi the board exam will just come and will just overflowing with your thoughts and understanding. Kasi hindi naman lahat na question to lalabas sa board exam. Pero pag naintindihan mo yung konsepto, kahit iba-iba pang pag-pattern ng question, you can immediately get it. Next question, which materials will her teacher least prefers? Remember guys ha, facilitating style na tayo ngayon. Forget about authoritarian, forget about the traditional setup of the classroom kasi ngayon, bawal na ngang kurutin yung mga bata ngayon. So that's therefore, bawal ng sakitan kahit sa bahay. Bakit bawal yung punishment na ngayon? Kasi, naniniwala kasi ang makabagong edukasyon, point of view ng education, na punishment can never change or modify the behavior of the child. Okay? Tayong mga guro, makabagong guro, hindi tayo naniniwala na kailangan parusahan yung bata, ano ba yun? Spank mo yung bata or corporal punishment at that. Dati may mga corporal punishment pa kami, paluhod-luhod sa mga munggo at saka sa mga salt. Okay, ngayon hindi na. Kasi they don't believe that punishment can diminish bad behavior. It can only weakens. What do you mean when say weakens? Parang walain niya lang ng sandali. But it doesn't mean na mawawala yan. Babalik yan, babalik. So you are creating a mindset na if the cat is away, the mouse will play. So therefore, dapat naintindihan ng bata, bakit ako pinapunish? Very important yun. Bakit ako sinigawan? Bakit ako ganito? Kasi minsan as a parent and as a teacher, we don't understand the effect of that to the child. Right? So again, sa classroom, anong pinaka-least na i-prefer? So all answers to be correct. Yung isa dyan na iiba siya. Was it a controversial issue? Is it an open-minded topics? Unquestionable laws, problem, or cases? So if you can see the choices, class, the three options are almost synonymous except letter C. When you say unquestionable laws, hindi debatable yan. Wala ka nang magawa yan. Yun na yun. Controversial issues, napakarami. Open-ended topics, same of controversial issues. Problem or cases, same. Alright? So natatawa ako. Okay, let's discuss first. Open-ended topics. Putting dolomite in Manila Bay. Is that an unquestionable loss or a controversial issue? Very controversial. Open-ended? Yes, open-ended topics. You cannot please everyone. Third, problem or cases? Yes, because you can discuss further what's the effect of dolomites to the seabed or anything. Pero ito po unquestionable laws mo, republic, ako lang na magawa doon, it's a law. Right? So that's the difference. So yung mga facts, that's unquestionable laws. Alright? Next one. Makabayan as a subject in the rich structured DepEd or basic education curriculum is a laboratory for life. What does this mean? It is in this subject where the learner blank. Alright? So we have four options there. A, will be taught the Filipino strength and weaknesses. B, will demonstrate practical knowledge and skills gained in other subjects. C, will be taught the true concept of being pagka-Makabayan. Or D, the biographies of heroes who are Makabayan will be taught. Okay, obviously the correct answer is letter B. Ma'am, bakit it's practical knowledge of skills gained in other subject? When you say laboratory for life, means to say hands-on learning. Progressive point of view, hands-on learning or learning by doing. That's the concept of Makabayan. Ngayon, naiiba na rin na dati restructured BEC or basic education curriculum. Ngayon, ang curriculum natin hindi na Makabayan or restructured BEC. Ano na bang curriculum natin ngayon? Sa makabagong panahon na ito, ang curriculum natin ay tinatawag na EBEC. What is EBEC? Enhanced Basic Education Curriculum or otherwise known as K-12. Okay? So, napakaganda din ang konsepto because ang focus is vocational, technical, preparatory to college. So, we are now aligned internationally in terms of curriculum. Dati-dati kasi, pag mag-aaral ka sa Pilipinas, pagdating mo ng Amerika, you're going to re-enroll again for senior high. Pero ngayon, aligned na tayo. Alright? Except East Timor. I do not know if Myanmar is already developing. Then these are part of the what we call third world countries. Okay? Next concept. Which of the following is a practice in progressive education? Okay, progressive education, open classroom, study of the classics, academic orientation, cognitive education. So when you talk about academic orientation of cognitive education, this is all about cognitive, academic, book-based. The study of the classic is also book-based. So the correct answer is letter A, open classroom. Ito na yung sistema ng progressive education. That's why napakahirap mag-push ng DepEd, ng tinatawag nating alternative learning or the modular instruction kasi napaka-negative ng isip ng tao. I'm so sorry guys, but sabi nila, dapat academic freeze. Walang aralin ang bata for 1 year. Hindi natin alam kung hanggang kailan tong COVID. Hindi pwede mag-stop tayo ng learning just because pandemic is there. And they went into alternative into modular learning. That's fine. Bakit man hindi napakahirap? Alam nyo, napakahirap lang tanggapin. Alright? We should adjust a little. Why? Dati ng mga alternative learning system natin ng mga recipient, they are only modular, visited by a mobile teacher. Okay naman. Bakit tayo kunting adjustment? Sabi niya, academic freeze. No. Education is still essential. And that's the reason why sabi ko, negative sila sa online learning. Ito na yung makabagong panahon. Alam yung problema lang talaga dito sa Pilipinas, yung signal. Sabi nila pag may dito. But I tell you people, in Korea, most of the education is online. Dito, hindi pa kayang tanggapin. And it's normal because for the Filipinos, what is customary and traditional the best. Alright? Ayaw natin makinig sa mga makabago, new style. Ayaw natin ng ganun. But it's alright, understandable. But debatable. Alright? Next, read the following teacher-student situation. Teacher, why is, si teacher nagsasalita, why is the process called photosynthesis? Sabi ni estudyante, I do not know. Now, ang tanong, which questioning technique should the teacher be using? Is that clarification, multiple response, prompting, concept, review? Okay, let's discuss first, May tinatawag technique of questioning, alright? The first technique of questioning, when the teacher asks the question directly to the student, that one is called direct questioning. Okay? If the student cannot answer the question, and I am the teacher, I ask Kimberly, she cannot answer the question, I transferred it to Isabel. Isabel, can you please help Kimberly? That one is called the redirection. I ask Kimberly direction, direct questioning. I transfer to Isabel, that's redirection. That is the second. The third one, Isabel do not understand the question. I can change or I can rephrase the question. That one is rephrasing. Alright? When I rephrase the question, still Isabel do not understand the question. I can give a clue to the answer. And that one is called prompting. Alright? What we mean when we say prompting, you assist the student to answer the question by giving a clue. Alright? So, letter C, could that be a correct answer? Clarification, obviously, that is asking a clarification. Okay? And the correct answer there is concept review. What is concept review? Concept review is one way of checking if the child or your learner had fully understood the concept. That's why if you have observed, yung endpoint ng teacher upon giving her lesson, nagtatanong yan, sige, again, what is photosynthesis? Ma'am, I do not know. It means to say that the learning process is not effective. So the teacher will repeat again, giving discussion about the lesson of photosynthesis. So that one is called concept review. Next concept, 18. If my approach to my lesson is behaviorist, what features will dominate? my lesson. So, this one is behaviorist point of view. Pag sinasabi nating behaviorist, meron kang ano, how you call that? Uh, Interaction. Let's see. Copying notes, so reasoning, lecturing, demonstration. So the correct answer is 2, 3, and 4. There is interaction that happenings there. And that is the correct answer. Letter D. Copying of notes, wala. Wala ka lang ginawa. Nag-copy ka lang ng notes. It's all physical activity. 19. Which statement about standard deviation is correct? Okay? So ito naman ay assessment of learning. Standard deviation is the measure of variability. So, the options is this. Give me the correct answer here. A, the higher the standard deviation, the more spread the scores are. B, the lower the standard deviation, the more spread the scores are. C, the higher the standard deviation, the less spread the scores are. Or D, it is the measure of central tendency. So I know you already know what's the correct answer because Sir Sandro I discussed this already with you. And the correct answer is letter A. The higher the standard deviation, the more scattered yung score. Tandaan nung mataas ang standard deviation, scattered yung score. So if you have the linear, you have to imagine the linear spreading ang score all throughout. That one is mataas ang standard deviation. Pag lower ang standard deviation, they are around the mean. Clunching around the mean. Alright? Next one, number 20. You want to report a colleague's act of immorality. You don't have the courage to confront her, to end her illicit affair with a married man. You write and secretly distributed copies of your anonymous letter against your fellow teacher. What should have been done instead? Ito naman yung mga gawang chismosa. Alright? Nainis ka kasi may ano siya, may other woman siya. So, parang sabi mo may mali. Okay, tama naman yun. Okay? Kasi, we are governed with our professional code of ethics. So, hindi pwede tayong magkalat sa school natin, especially, ha? Napakalaking iskandalo yan. And if there's somebody who are really willing to report you in a right authority, pwede ka pang mawala ng license mo, mawala pa yung profession mo. Alright? So, A, if the charge is valid, present such charge under oath before your school head. And that is the correct answer. Bakit? Kung totoo naman ka, seryoso ka sa ginagawa mo, you can do it under oath. Hindi siya gawang chismis. Alright? B, baka kasi hearsays lang yung naririnig mo. Alam nyo sa Dale Cone of Experience, listening is far from the real thing. So, yun yung pinakabagay na huwag mong paniwalaan. Pag yung boyfriend mo may ibang lalaki, huwag ka maniwala sa sabi-sabi. You ask your boyfriend, pag sinabi niya na, oo, meron ako, iyon na yun. Or pag nakita ng dalawang mata mo, yung mga kaibigan kung may other woman yung mga asawa nila, they really investigate kasi bawal yung chismis. Pag sasabing chismis, yung asawa mo ganito. Sabi ng mga kaibigan ko, talagang I did my own investigation. Kasi hindi pwedeng sabi-sabi lang. Alright? B, ask the third party to write the anonymous letter to prevent yourself from being involved. Napaka-bad mo pag ganun. Talk to the married man with whom she is having an illicit affair. Itong letter C, pakialam mo. MYOB. Ano siya sabi ng MYOB? Mind your own business. Or D, secretly gives the anonymous letter to the two people concerned. Ay, hindi rin. If you are so serious of reporting, do that under oath. Alright? Number 21. With the principle of learning in mind, which one can help Teacher Fantina solve her student disciplinary problem? Call on their first names, do interactive teaching, change seat plan of the class, or assign monitors in the class. Alam mo lahat ginawa mo na pero you do not do still the what we call problem in discipline inside the classroom. This is the biggest challenge to all teachers out there, yung disiplinahin yung mga bata nila sa loob ng klase. Bakit? Kasi napakahirap, most especially if you're not equipped psychologically, napakahirap mag-manage ng 40 students in public school setup. So, 40 students in one classroom, 40 different personalities, tapos may mga nanay pa na napaka-complaining about the methods of teacher. Parang sinasabi ng teacher, kayo na, dahil hindi ko na kaya. But when the teacher is equipped with what we call psychological preparedness to manage the multiple personalities or multiple behavior of the child inside the classroom, mas maigi. Okay? Kasi hindi naman lahat ng bagay nagre-react si teacher. Halimbawa, maingay yung estudyante, pwede na nang tingnan. Halimbawa, pag maingay ang buong klase, pumasok ka na, you are about to start the class, you can just stand in front of the class and just talk nothing and just cross your arm and wait for them to become silent. And some students are just, uy, si ma'am, ara na. Uy, andyan na si ma'am. Uy, tumahimik na kayo. Ganun talaga. And they will all stop talking. Once they all stop talking, you can now start the class. Sabi mo, okay, are you ready for the class? May sinabi ka ba na, hoy, mga walang hiya kayo, ang iingay nyo. No, because it's nonsense and it's not being paid. You're not being paid to nag the class. Okay? You are only needing some psychological preparedness or equipment in order for you to manage all this misbehavior. Most especially adolescent, my God. Sa classroom, pero napakaganda ng panahon sa labas. Sabi mo, guys, gusto nyo ba we do the class outside? Let's study about monocot and dicot. So you spread the entire campus. I'll give you 15 minutes to get a sample of monocot and dicot leaves and go back to the class. Doon ka lang sa ilalim ng puno, mag-instruction. That is interactive teaching. Sa klase, allow your student to speak out. That is interactive teaching. In fact, napakaganda ng interactive because nag-iisip lahat ng estudyante. Alright? Next number. Which program is DepEd's vehicle in mobilizing support from the private and non-government sector to support program based on DepEd menu of assistance packages? Is the child-friendly school system? Well, it's the program of the government or of the DepEd, but it's not answering the question. The correct answer is letter B, adopt a school program. Alright? Every child is a reader program or Brigada Eskwela. The bayanihan spirit is Brigada Eskwela, yung tulong-tulong. But it should be bayanihan, hindi siya required. Kasi alam ko parang nire-required. But Brigada Eskwela is a bayanihan, tulungan tayo maglilinis ng school. So the correct answer is adopt a school program. Pag ikaw naman ay nakakaluwag, marami kang ipon at saka may mga investment ka, you can adopt a program from the school. Halimbawa, magbibigay ka ng mga educational materials. So, pwede yun. You adopt a school at siya yung susustentuhan mo ng mga educational tools. Okay? Number 23. Which violates the principle of respect. This is again a form of SATA or select all that apply. Alright? 1. Teacher Anna tells her student to what teacher Beth thought is wrong. That is against respect. You didn't respect teacher Beth. 2. To retaliate. Teacher Beth advises student not to enroll in teacher Anna's class. That is also a violation of respect. Number 3. Teacher Catherine secretly gives way to a special favor. Add 2 points to grade requested by student Alex who is vying for honor. And the correct answer that all 1, 2, and 3 is a form of disrespect. That is a violation of the principle of respect. Alright? So, hindi yan, sabi mo, ma'am, yan ba lumalabas sa board exam? Yes. Ma'am, kasi sa totoo lang, madami din naman chismosang maestra. Totoo naman yan. But what will come out in the actual board exam is always what is ideal. Ano yung tama? Hindi yung ano ang nangyayari sa eskwelahan. Kasi bawat eskwelahan may kanya-kanyang story. Alright? So, ito naman, pag yung tinatanong naman, can you teach without a lesson plan? Parang ganung tanong. The answer is no. Pero sa board exam, lumalabas yun, Can a teacher teach without a lesson plan? The answer should be no. Pero sa actual, ang daming teacher walang lesson plan nagtuturo. Okay? So that is totally different. Okay? Number 24. A test item has difficulty index of 0.89 and discrimination index of 0.44. What should the teacher do? Natatakot ako every time there is a number included in the question kasi hindi talaga ako fan ng numbers. Pero pasensya na, alam kong sagot ito. Okay? This is all about assessment of learning, discrimination index, how to reject, retain, or revise the item. Alright. Reject the item if the item could either be very difficult or very easy. Sa mga 20 below or 0.80 up. Ang tawag doon? Reject the item. Alright? Revise the item. Ito ko, difficulty index siya is 0.89. Kung yun lang ang given, napakahirap siya, reject the item. Kaya lang, may discrimination index na 0.44 which is almost average. So therefore, you must revise the item. So again, ma'am, kailan magre-retain ang item? Magre-retain ka ng item sa question if the question is moderately or average in difficulty. Reject the item if the item is either difficult or very difficult or very easy. Okay? So, pag nag-89 is very difficult and 0.44 is almost average, that is the time for you to revise the item. Alright? Number 25. Mabilis yata ako, ha? Pero I hope you understand. You reserve your questions after the discussion. Number 25. Conducting follow-up studies of graduates and dropout is a guidance service that falls under A. Placement service. B. Research service. C. Individual inventory services. Or D. Counseling service. The correct answer is research service. Normally, pag tapos ka na, studies of graduates and dropouts is a guidance that is research service because they can see now the trend. Okay, research yan. Yung ginagawa ng UP statistician na minomonitor nila yung number of cases o pwede na nag-flatten or pababa na yung trending, that one is also a research service. So, every time na naiinis ako when Harry Roque keep on debating the UP team or team of statistician who studies about the rise and the falling of the COVID cases because alam mo, people, hindi dapat tayo nagkukumpit diyan kasi whatever data that they are giving could be a very big help in decision making. Alright? Napaka-malaking puntos yun na mag-decide ang gobyerno sa tulong ng mga universidad na nagdadalubhasa sa pag-study ng mga ganong data. Alright? At ang UP Education naman or Department of Statistician ay napakalaking institusyon para i-consider yung mga studies nila. Alright? Here, number 26. The singing of National Anthem in school is an offshoot of the philosophy of nationalism. Of course, that's the correct answer. Option B, pragmatism, naturalism, and socialism. Okay? So, when you talk about pragmatism, from the word pragma means practical. When you are practical, you are pragmatic. And when you are pragmatic, you do what are practical things. Feeling mo naman, practical subong ngayon, practical ang magnegosyo na lang online. So that's you are being pragmatic. Pero pag idealistic ka, hindi maaari. Dapat ganito, yung idealistic. Naturalism, when you learn things naturally, na hindi mo pilit ginagawa, pero through experiences and through hands-on learning, you learn from it. Alright? That's naturalism. Socialism is a form of government, parang socialism. Ang kaganda ng socialism is that there are a lot of social institutions that is being developed to produce a lot of work for the people. Dapat lahat ng tao ay nagtatrabaho, very interactive, and mass production is always involved in socialist point of view. So yung China, hindi naman siya communist ang China, ha? China is a socialist country. So if you can observe, they become the divisoria of the world. Name a product, China have it. Lahat ng brand, meron yung China imitation nga lang. Pero, that is a byproduct of socialist concept na lahat dapat ng tao ay may ginagawa or nagtatrabaho. Okay? Lahat ng tao ay kumikita. Next one, 27. The main purpose in administering a pre-test and post-test to student is to blank. A. Measure gains in learning. B. Measure the value of material taught. Keep adequate records or accustom student to frequent testing. The correct answer is to measure the gains in learning. So, later on, we can do a report and post it there in our group chat. Your scores. And you can see if you are improving or not improving. Alright? We will never stop learning or giving for those who are really willing to continue and learn a lot. Alright? We will continue to do this because this is also part of my advocacy. Hindi lang ito kung ano pa man. Matagal pa ang board exam. That's a good news. Bakit? Matagal pang preparation mo. For sure, you don't want the board exam will be happening this December. Alright? Next one, number 28. A wife who loves her husband dearly becomes so jealous that in the moment of savage rage, kills him. Is the wife morally responsible and why? A. Not necessarily. Antecedent passion may completely destroy freedom and consequently moral responsibility. B. Yes, she killed her husband simply because of jealousy. Or C. It depends on the case of wife's jealousy. Bakit? May different cases bang wife jealousy? Or D. It depends on the mental health of the wife. O bakit? Baliw na ba ang wife? ito yung mga katanungan. Meron bang mga couple nagpapatayan dahil sa selos? Ang dami! Alright. Ma'am, is that, hindi po ba yan crime of passion? Guys, if you talk about crime of passion, iba naman to sa jealousy. Yung crime of passion, I am a wife, nakita ko yung asawa ko having sexual intercourse to other woman. In the moment of that activity, I killed them both. Pwede mo siyang i-fight sa court. But you're still having a case, murder, or depende, homicide, murder, whatever. Pero, pwede mo siya i-contest na crime of passion. Ano tinatawag na crime of passion? Nawala sa isip ko kasi naimpito ako or nanilim yung paningin ko, I killed them both. Alright? Ang iba naman, nakapatay sila, they have what we call excuse by saying that is self-defense. The answer is B. Responsible pa rin si wife. Bakit? She killed her husband simply because of jealousy. Alam niyo yung jealousy talaga na yan, ha? Gawin nyo na lang bintana, okay? Hindi pwede tayo magpatayan. Yung iba, magjowa pa lang, nagpapatayan na. Wow, ang saya naman nun. Don't involve your emotion too much. Pag sabing pinalitan ka na, huwag mo nang balikan kasi a cheater will always be a cheater. So, I tell you, maghanap ka na lang ng bago, yung loyal sa'yo. Number 29. On which assumptions are the principles action anchored? So, SAT again. Select all that apply. 1. Student learn personally, constructing meaning of what is taught. B. Student construct and reconstruct meaning based on experiences. 3. Student derive meaning from the meaning that the teacher gives. Is it A, 1 only, B, 1 and 3, C, 1 and 2, and D, 2 only? The correct answer is, when you talk about, dapat ito may ano pa ng principal, may May mga ano pa to, may mga situation pa dapat. Okay? So, tawag dito constructivist na point of view. So, the question must be wrong here, or there must be something missing in the question. Ang tanong dapat dito, on which assumption is the principal action anchored? May mga sitwasyon siya. Si principal ganito, si principal ganito. So, constructivist na point of view. What do you mean constructivist na point of view? Nagkikreate. So, ang tamang sagot is 1 and 2. Student learn by personally constructing meaning of what is taught. Constructivist yan. Nagturo si teacher, out of the teaching the teacher, nakakreate ang estudyante ng konsepto. That is constructivist. Number 2, student construct and reconstruct meaning based on experiences. Constructivist. Student derive meaning from the meaning that the teacher gives. That's copycat, copy. Okay? So the correct answer is letter C. Number 30. With Republic Act 9155, to which body were all the functions, programs, and activities of the Department of Education related to sport competition transferred. Alright? Very easy question. 9155 sa time ni Gloria itong Republic Act na to. Pinangalanan ang Department of Education, Culture, and Sports into DepEd. Dati DEX, ngayon DepEd. So pag ang tanong sa actual board exam, what law is giving a permit transferring DepEd to Department of Education DEX to DepEd. That one is Republic Act 9155. Okay, ano to? A. Technical Education Services Department Authority, Philippine Sports Commission, National Commission on Culture and the Arts, and Commission on Higher Education. So yung Department of Education Culture transferred to National Commission for Culture and the Arts. Sports is transferred to Philippine Sports Commission. So the correct answer is letter B. 31. Based on Piaget theory, what should a teacher provide in the formal operational stage? Okay, formal operational stage tayo. No? So there are several stages. We have the sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete, and formal. So yung formal, this is already the highest learning. A. Stimulating environment with ample objects to play with. That is pre-operational ang letter A. Letter B. Games and other physical activities to develop motor skills. That one is still under concrete operational. C. Activities for hypothesis formulation. That is the correct answer because that is higher learning and it happens during the formal operational stage of the cognitive development. Or D. Learning activities that involve problems of classification and ordering. That one is concrete operational stage. So the best or the correct answer is letter C, activities for hypothesis formulation. 3-2. My problem is there are too many topics to cover and I may not able to finish before classes end in March. So, nangyayari ito. Most especially sa review naman, pag late ang preparation natin, parang February pa lang, nagpo-proofed kasi last time nagpo-proofed kami February, dami-dami ng coverage. Kasi sa amin kasi ito yung difference sa ibang review center, 2 days lang yung klase. Sa amin, pag nag-start kami ng klase, it would be 3 to 4 days. Sabi ko nga ngayon, dapat 4 days. Okay, kahit 2 days sa online, 2 days sa actual. Bakit? Importante kasi na ma-cover lahat. Alright? So, yung difference na, bakit? Yung iba nga 4 na araw, parang hindi pa rin prepared yung iba. Much more yung 2 araw lang. Ano ba makukuha mo sa 2 araw? Tapos yung teacher mo, yung professor mo na nagtuturo, tulog-tulugan pa. So that's the reason sabi ko, no. This time, I will be the hands-on in proof end. Okay? Kasi last time, hindi talaga ako hands-on kasi iba't ibang lecturer. So ngayon naman, gusto kong hands-on ako para malalaman ko ano bang kulang, ano bang difference, ano bang hindi na-discuss. And I can handle that all in all para yung estudyante natin, kayo, prepared kayo sa actual board exam. So what will happen? Malapit na yung board exam sa March, tapos first week of March nagpo-prof ed pa lang. Parang ang nipis ng preparation. So now here, anong gagawin mo? Is that thematic, constructive, experimental approach, direct instruction? So the correct answer is letter A, thematic. You integrate or combine all subject areas and make it a theme para maubos, matapos. You get a very nice point. So yung thematic instruction is also very true to final recap and coaching. You get the important points, you give it as a tip before a day before the board exam come. Syempre yung ibang review center natin ang lalakas ng mga marketing strategy nila kasi doon naman ang study talaga sila magaling. Maganda sila mag-package sa review centers. Yun yung totoo. Ako kilala ko at kaibigan yung teacher board pero ayaw kong mag-connect. Bakit? Kasi doon pumapasok yung tinatawag nating ethics. Alright? Ethics, ethical standard. Alright? So, sabi ko, hindi totoo na nagbibigay na. Although, meron talagang lumalabas. But it was after. After na ng ano. I can also grab a copy of that. Pero ayaw ko yung gamitin sa marketing para lang i-deceive yung students. Alright? Hindi totoo yan. Walang free pre-board yung PRC. Alright? Here. Confident ako na ang mga estudyante namin could able to understand the concept at alam nila paano sagutin yung tanong. Believe ako sa mga estudyante namin, halos napakaganda nilang umintindi. Yung general education, napaka-common yan. Those are questions na nai-encounter mo every day of your life. Ang pinaka-importante yung proof ed at saka yung majoring mo. Alright? So, 33. The workers' right to form union or to strike can be suppressed in times of national emergency. On what norm is this based? A. Higher law, inalienable rights before inalienable. B. Wider social order, the society before the individual. Or C. Clearer title, the certain before the title, or nobler person, God before man. Okay? So ito, napakagandang tanong because ngayon ay national emergency. Workers' right to form union or strike can be suppressed in times of national. On what norm is this based? Okay? So wala mo nang rally-rally during national emergency. O sana ganun, no? Kaya lang ito hindi napigilan eh. Dami pa rin nag-rally. Why? Because nakikita natin yung gobyerno, hindi priority ang national emergency which is COVID. Ang daming nagugutom sa Metro Manila, yung inuuna talaga yung Dolomite. Inuuna talaga yung build. Paano bang build na yan? Wala na yung mga driver, hindi na kumakain. So, ano bang tamang gawin ng gobyerno? So, wala namang napakagandang formula na gawin ng gobyerno. Ang thing is that may focus how to defeat the national emergency on health, and that is COVID. Okay? So, pwede, pero yung pwedeng build niyan, because allocated na yung fund. Pero alam nyo, during the time, doon nang gagaling yung mga corruption sa mga project. I would like to give a point of view of everyone na mas maraming project, mas maraming kickback, mas maraming corrupt. Alright? Yun. Baka walang project. No, kapangit naman na walang project. That's the reason why dapat yung focus talaga ng gobyerno is estudyuhan kasi itong PhilHealth natin, ganun ang nangyari. Yung pera para sa COVID na kurakot niya. Bakit? Yung mga hindi naman na COVID, dinideclare na na COVID. Bakit? Bakit dinideclare nila na COVID kahit hindi COVID? Kasi mas mataas ang claim sa PhilHealth. Kaya nga sabi ng kaibigan ko, nakakatakot mo hospital ngayon, wala kang COVID. Tapos pagpasok mo, may COVID ka na. Kasi malaki yung claim daw sa PhilHealth. Alright? So doon nang galing siguro yung mga kakurakutan na nangyayari dyan. Hindi natin naintindihan bakit lumobo sa 15 billion yung nakurakot. Tapos itong Juan de la Cruz, wala nang makain. So, wider social order ang tamang sagot, society before the individual. Bago natin isipin yung individual, isipin natin ang pangkalahatan. Bakit ako naiinis o nagagalit? na i-close yung ABS-CBN kasi hindi hindi tugma sa panahon. Ayaw nating mawalan ng trabaho kasi essential sila. Nagbibigay sila ng impormasyon. So therefore, bakit sila pinasara on that moment? Pwedeng i-delay next year. Isara nyo kung gusto nyo. Pag wala ng COVID, pwede. Kasi yung only ABS-CBN has their own transmitter all throughout the Philippines. Hindi lahat abot ng GMA. Alam nyo, kahit wala ng ABS-CBN, sana capture ng GMA at saka TV5 yung market. Pero alam nyo, nakikita ko, parang hindi rin. Bakit? Hindi rin tumaas yung advertiser ng GMA. Tumaas konti. Ang TV5 tumaas din konti. Saan yung tao nanonood? YouTube. Saan na Kumu? Alin pa? Kapamilya channel. Bakit? That is already the transition from free TV to digital. Okay, before I'm doing my class, nag-watch ako ng Showtime. Tawang-tawa ako. Napakaganda pala ngayon mag-watch ng Showtime kasi panood-panood ka lang, may 5,000 ka. Yun. Sabi ko, there are a lot of platforms that they could air. Facebook, nagpo-propose na yun suspension of Facebook in the Philippines. Kawawa naman yung nagnegosyo via Facebook. Bakit? Kasi gin-close daw yung mga ng presidente, ng mga advocacy ng presidente. Hindi naman advocacy kasi yun, mga fake news yun. And Facebook has their own ruling to do it. Alright? So that's the reason why yung tawag natin, we have also to abide certain law because yung Facebook naman is international. Pwede nga i-block sa Philippines, tama, pwede. Pero naaayon ba yun sa puso ng mga taong gumagamit ng Facebook sa buong Pilipinas? Feeling ko majority ayaw nilang mawala ng Facebook kasi ang daming nagninegosyo ng maliliit na negosyante sa Facebook. Maliit saka malaki. Nag-apply na nga yan ng DTI para sa online selling nila tapos mawawala. Hindi ba talaga nag-iisip tong gobyerno na to? Kawawa naman tong Juan de la Cruz. Okay? Number 34. Masyado ako nadadala sa puso ko, guys. Kaya ako'y isa ring nagko-comment. Hindi po ako dilawan, ha? Baka sabihin dilawan ako. Wala sa kulay yan. Nasa nasa how you think objectively to this country. Because we cannot take away ourselves from the community because we are part and parcel of this society. So, nanging parte tayo ng sosyedad na to. So, makilahok, makijoin. Huwag lang tahimik-tahimik dyan kasi wala. Sumasakit na pala tiyan mo. 34. Which tests determine whether students accept responsibility for their own behavior or pass on responsibility for their own behavior to other people. All right. Are you still there? Hello? May audience pa ba ako?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay lang kayo dyan, guys? Inom na ako ng tubig, ha? Sandali.
Okay na, okay.
Ito. Medyo nagra-rant kasi ako kasi naiinis nga ako kasi mawawala na naman ng Facebook. Ito na nga lang katuwaan ng mga na-lockdown dyan. So, TikTok na lang. Yung TikTok kasi China-made yun. Tapos that is way of China to gather our information. That's why ayaw ko mag-TikTok. Dati nagti-TikTok din ako, Duh. Pero ayaw ko na mag-TikTok kasi kakatakot nga makapture yung mga tapos gawan ka ng credit card, tapos mahal-mahal, ang dami mo na palang utang, parang ganun. Ayaw ko ng ganun. Alright, here. Itong tinatawag natin, student accept responsibility of their own behavior or ipapasa sa iba. Alright, what kind of test is that? Locus of control, thematic, stylistic, sentence completion. The correct answer is letter A, that's locus of control tests. Ano to? Okay? Locus of control, it is one way of making excuses or alibi. For example, hindi ka pumasa sa test. Gin-blame mo yung seatmate mo kasi hindi niya pinatingnan yung test paper sa'yo. That is the locus of control test. And failed ka kasi yung notebook mo hiniram ng classmate mo na boyfriend mo. So, yung behavior, you pass on the responsibility to others. Hindi ako pumasa kasi kinuha mo yung notebook ko o hiniram mo yung notebook ko. That is an example of locus of control test. Sa success rate, for example, ito'y kasi attribution. Ang locus of control test is a concept of Bernard Wiener about attribution theory. What do you mean when you say attribution theory? How do you attribute your emotion, your successes, and your failures to others? Okay? For example, pag na-failure ka, you normally attribute it to other people, external. Pag successful, you attribute it to yourself. Ang galing-galing ko. Oh my God. Pag failure, you attribute it to other people. Sabi, kasi hindi ako pumasa kasi nung board exam kasi, ang boyfriend ko kasi at ako nag-break. You attribute it to the situation. Second, hindi ako pumasa kasi yung review center namin pangit. You attribute again your failure to the review center, which is totally no because napakalaki ding factor yung sarili mo in your success. But because totoo yan yung tinatawag na attribution, you don't normally attribute it to yourself, but you want to attribute it to other people. That is a form of defense mechanism. Alright? So, napakaraming konsepto yung tinatawag na defense mechanism. Alam mo, Joshua, pag ako kasi tumitingin sa tao, pag nagsasalita siya, sa may mga issue, may mga maling ugali, I can always determine if the person is just having a defense mechanism. So, what are the different defense mechanism? Okay, discuss ko defense mechanism number 1, denial. Ang taong may kasalanan, hindi aamin yan. Sabi niyo, wala daw siya O bakit? Sino bang magnanakaw nang sabi niya, akong nagnakaw? Wala. Denial is a form of defense mechanism. Second, displacement. Anong displacement na defense mechanism? Galit na galit ka, sobrang galit mo. So, anong ginawa mo? Tinapon mo yung baso, yung pinggan, binagsak mo. Meron ganon. That is displacement. Ang galit mo, napunta sa pinggan, binagsak mo. Okay, that is displacement. Madaming taong ganyan, pagalit sila, they put it in things, or sinusuntok yung wall, that is displacement. Third one, projection. Yung taong may mali, hindi yan aamin, magtuturo yan. Hindi ako ang gumagawa. Si Isabel yun. Di ba? Kawawang anak ko si Isabel. Siya palaging may kasalanan. Ako na naman yung mali. Bakit ako na lang lagi? Parang ganon. So, they call it scapegoat. What do you mean with scapegoat? Yung pagkakamali mo, naghahanap ka ng butas para idiin yung iba. Fourth na ba ako? Rationalization. Na-discuss ko na to yata dati sa inyo. Ano to tawag na rationalization? Nag-break kayo ng boyfriend mo kasi kasalanan mo. Pero nira-rationalize mo. Okay lang. Break na kami ng boyfriend ko. Pangit naman nun. Pangit humali. Barang ganon. Ang tawag doon sa ganon is sour graping. So, sour graping is also a form of defense mechanism. The opposite of sour graping is known to be lemon sweet. Ano naman yung tinatawag na lemon sweet? Uy, nag-break na kami niyan. Ang bait sana niyan. Pero I am happy for him because he found somebody better than me. Parang ganon. That one is parang nag-move on ka. That one is lemon sweet. The opposite of sour graping. Okay. May tinatawag din tayong fantasy. Ang fantasy na defense mechanism, pag nag-iisa ka lang at nagmumuni-muni ka, Joshua, sabi, may fantaserye ka. Yung fantaserye mo, either dalawang uri. Either doon ay hero ka, or ikaw yung pinakamaganda, pinaka-sexy, tapos nakatingin yung lahat ng iba. Tapos yung isa na naman na type na fantasy is martyr ka doon, paiyak-iyak ka. Oy, aminin nyo dyan ha, ginagawa nyo to. Ako din nagpa-fantasize ako. Siyempre, when you do fantasize class, yung pinafantasize mo, yung mga frustrations mo. Halimbawa, dahil ako'y katabaan, hindi na ako sexy, so sa fantaserye ako, ano ako, sexy, mataas, flawless, o di ba ganon. Yung mga pandak dyan, ganon yung iniisip nila sa fantaserye nila, mataas sila, poging-pogi, ganon. So, mabakla dyan, syempre yung fantaserye nila, babae sila, okay? Because fantasy is the defense mechanism against your frustration. What else? Ito common sa mga lalaking may mga extra-extra dyan. They call this undoing. Or kahit maliit na pagkakamali, yung mga lalaki or babae rin na may kasalanan, ang sweet. Bakit sila sweet? Kasi ang lambing. Bakit? Kasi that is their way of defending themselves against their guilt feeling. So, yung boyfriend mo dyan, hindi naman mahilig magbigay ng flower, tapos one time binigyan ka ng flower, may pa-balloons pa chocolates, I'll tell you, may kasalanan yan. That defense mechanism is called undoing. Alright? Madami pa yan, madami-dami pa ako. So, when I do my actual lecture, I'll give you a lot more of understanding so that you can use that inside the classroom when you are determining the behavior of the child, whether they are lying, defending, or just protecting their egos. Alright? So, the correct answer here is letter A, locus of control. Number 35. Which technique is most appropriate when a teacher wants a group to agree on a plan of action? Composite report, consensus decision-making, symposium, agenda. The correct answer is consensus decision-making. When you do consensus, it's votation, democratic, you agree about a decision you're going to make. A symposium naman, what's the difference of symposium to forum? Okay? Ang symposium, on topic about drug addiction, there will only one speaker but it was done formally in a big crowd. So, ang forum, ganun din. Ang difference lang ng forum is that sa symposium, one speaker. Sa forum, there will be many. Alright? So, the correct answer is letter B. 36. How is values education offered in the National Secondary Education curriculum? A. Emphasize in science and technology. Miss Emma, you're low bat. B. Integrated in all subject areas. C. As a separate subject. D. Integrated with technology and home economics. The correct answer is letter C, as a separate subject. Naalala ko to, yung values education namin talaga separate. Naalala ko rin na pag ang bata ay nasa teenager na, naalala ko yung teacher namin dati, sabi niya, dapat meron siyang silid sa pansariling damdamin. O, di ba? So, Joshua, pag natatawa ako kasi sa original na Filipino household, sa mga bahay-bahay naman talaga sa farm, mga mga farmland, isang bedroom lang, yung salas, kainan, tapos bedroom na lang. So, doon tayo lahat natutulog sa bedroom. Yung nanay natin, minsan tatay natin at saka nanay sa salas o sa silid. Ang liit-liit na ng bahay natin sa bahay kubo na yan. And that's the original Filipino concept of household. So, nung high school kami, sinabi ng teacher namin, dapat pag teenager na yung bata, there must be silid for pansariling damdamin. Because I do not know how will I understand. Now, I am teaching developmental stages for child and adolescent. Naalala ko, tama naman pala na pag teenager ang bata, dapat meron silang silid-aral for pansariling damdamin, or we call that development of their growth hormone. Kasi naman, may crush-crush na sila, may mga na sila, may mga flames and candles, di ba, may ganun. Napagdaanan natin yan. Ang mga lalaki, mahilig na mag-masturbate at that moment, di ba, Joshua? And masturbation is part of growth. That's the reason why last time tinanong ko kayo, what will you do if you caught somebody masturbating? A, help them. B, can I join? C, give them privacy. Or D, nota. So the correct answer is give them privacy. because that's what they need. Okay? So sabi ko naman yun sa growth and development, pag hindi mo binigyan ng pagkakataon yung mga teenager na lalaki na they can do that by themselves, pwedeng ma-embarrass sila, it can cause their impotence. Alright? 37. Which is the best reason why teacher begins a lesson in math by checking and reviewing the previous day's assignment and provides practice and drills. A. Check if parents guide their children in the making of assignment. B. Make sure that the student understand the prerequisite skills of the lesson. Or C. Prepare the student for the mastery test. Or D. Make learning interesting and enjoyable for the student. The correct answer is letter B. Make sure that the student understand the prerequisite skills of the lesson. Kailangan yun. That's why there is what you call a perception concept by Johann Herbert. Ano yung a perception concept? When you talk about the lesson of the day, you're going to tackle what has previously learned. Hindi pwede na, class, our lesson for today is ganito, ganito. Or you may tackle about, class, last time, we talk about the concept of numbers in terms of fraction and its usage. So now, we're going to use mixed fraction. Di ba? Parang ganun, i-connect mo yung previous lesson to the present lesson that you're doing. Alright? 38. In instructional planning, it is necessary that the parts of the plan from the first to the last. Ano ba to? Parang may kulang yung question. In the instructional plan necessary, parang connect or interconnection of the parts of the plan from the first to the last. Of course, the correct answer there is letter B, coherence. Coherence is, connected ba siya from the beginning towards the end. May mga teacher kasi na hindi mo alam yung direction ng lesson niya. That's why they become less effective. Pag teacher ka, alam mo yung how to do your motivation, di ba? Alam mo pag teacher ka, mag-start ka ng motivation sa klase. Some teacher utilize song. Okay? Some teacher naman stimulate student class. Do you know that ganito? They start it with a question to stimulate the mind of the students. So, ang tawag doon is coherence, motivation. After motivation, we have resource materials and we have the procedure and content of the lesson up to evaluation and assignments. Dapat interconnecting yun. Hindi pwede pa iba-iba. Alright? Next concept. Ang symmetry is equal ha. Conciseness is brief and clear. Clarity should be clear also. I would like to tell everyone that there are some teachers who cannot teach in a concise or in a brief way. I would like to tell everyone na iba yung review. Yung gin-study mo from first year to fourth year in education. Ginawa nating 6 months, 5 months here in a review center for almost 1 day, 2 days, and 3 day session per week. And there are some students who will not prepare because for them, sabi na matagal pa naman ng board exam. Ang sinasabi ko, paunti-unti nating gawin. So, from July until now, marami na kayong alam. Pero that would not be enough yet because madami din ang pwedeng i-cover ng board exam. So, lucky are those who are really patiently doing this every Saturday, allocating the time kasi hindi naman talaga ako I'm sorry. Pinaliit ko ang time. Pinaliit ko rin ang number of items. Bakit? Kasi hindi ko gusto na maano ba kayo, ma-overwhelm. My God, I'm informed. I am superly informed. So parang hindi ko kaya. Parang hindi ko kayang i-concentrate lahat. So that's why 50, but at least you do understand the 50 items na later on, pag na-encounter mo siya, parang napaka-easy na lang yan. Alam ko na yan. Napagdaanan na namin yan. Okay? So number 39. With the advent of multimedia resources and computers, which is the most favorable result of the optimal use of educational media technology? Okay, we're talking about optimal use, All of them can be a correct answer. Interactive learning, increased learning, speed learning, more interesting learning. All right? So all of them can be correct. But the best answer that the media can contribute to us is optimal use is the interactive learning. Ma'am, hindi naman lahat ng media interactive. True. TV is not interactive. Do you know that? TV is a passive learning. Sabi ko nga, pag ako pipili, maganda ang TV kasi you have the view. Pero in terms of stimulation of thoughts and imagination, napakaganda din ng radio. Bakit? Yung radio kasi tatakbo ako. Alam mo yung nangyayari? Nakikinig ba kayo sa drama dyan? Sa radio? Ha? Sagot Joshua, yung mga ikaw, Chini, nakikinig ka ba ng radio? If you have observed, pag sinasabing tumatakbo ako, bubuksan ko ang pinto, parang feeling mo ikaw yung nag-a-act. That's the magic of radio. That's sabi ko nga, napaka-effective din ng radio channel, ng radio, frequency na to. Bakit? You are imagining, in fact, pag nanonood ako ng horror sa TV, mas natatakot ako pag sa radio. Orasyon. O, di ba parang ganon? Ano pa yung panggabi? Mga pakpak ng aswang. O, di ba? Nakakatakot yun. Tapos yung sound effect. Kasi sa horror movie, anong nakakatakot? It's not the picture, but the sound effect. Alright? So, interactive learning sa educational media, yung pwede kang sumagot, ganon. Yun yung kagalingan. Sa speech lab, meron kayong microphone. The teacher can listen to you on the other side of your technology. And highly integrated now, most especially the multimedia now, the DLP or the digital liquid projector. 40, the mathematician's test was given to all grade 5 pupils to determine the contestants for the math quiz B. Which statistical measure should be used to identify the top 15? Okay, is that the mean percentage score? Pag sinasabing mean percentage score, the average. Quartile deviation, percentile rank, percentage score. Parang mali ang sagot dito. Ang tamang sagot yata is percentile rank. Tama ba ako, Miss M? Tama ba ako dyan? Ang tamang sagot ay percentile rank? Ranking system.
Yan
tama?
yung sagot namin, ma'am.
Yeah, yun yung tama. Hindi percentage
rank,
score. Mali siguro pagkaka-encode. So, ang tamang sagot is letter C. Percentile rank. Hindi percentage score. Hindi tayo nagka-count ng percentage if we are looking for top 15. Percentile rank, which will come first from the first, the highest, to the lowest. Tama? Yung pinakamataas na score ay top 1. Okay, that's one is called percentile rank. So, let's change the answer. I'll edit it later. Percentile rank yung tamang sagot. Next number. Here is the test item. The improvement of basic education should be the top priority of the Philippine government. Defend or refute this position. Under what type of question does this test item fall? Is that low level, evaluative, analysis, convergent? Alright, the correct answer is evaluative because of the verb there, defend or refute. It means to say, you're taking a position. So, pag ganun na nagja-judge ka or you take your position, that is evaluative. Ang low level is answerable by facts. Analysis, of course, explain why. Convergent is a question that is answerable by one answer. More likely, mga 4 W's. Who, when, where, what. That is convergent. Yung many answer is divergent. Alright? So there are different types of questioning, question form. But of course, the highest one, or one of the highest one is evaluative. So the correct answer is letter B. 42. William Glasser's control theory states that behavior is inspired by what satisfies a person want or any given time. What then must a teacher do to motivate students to learn? A. make schoolwork or relevant to the student basic human needs. B, make teaching learning interactive. C, avoid giving assignment. Or D, organize a curriculum in a spiral manner. All right. Okay, ito. What's your answer here? Parang mali din.
Walang ganyan sa exam, ma'am.
Talaga? Drawing ko lang to? Talaga ba? Baka mali yung pagkakopya?
Nagdoble yung first one, ma'am.
Nagdoble yung isa. Okay,
Yes,
anyway,
ma'am.
let's answer this. If you are the student, what do you think is the correct answer here? Is it A? We're talking about behavior. Hindi naman human needs. Yes, the correct answer is letter A. Make schoolwork relevant to basic human needs. Alright? A. Hindi naman physiologic. Their human needs means relationship with others. Alright? Next concept, 43. One learns math by building on the math concepts previously learned. This is an application of constructivist, humanist, physiological, SR. Okay, the correct answer is letter A, constructivist. Bakit? Yung nag-create ka something out of your learning that is constructivist. Ang humanist approach, based on the potential of individual. Halimbawa, magaling siyang sumayaw, mag-join siya ng Glee Club. So yung Glee Club has humanist approach. Alright? Magaling siya sa math. So they enroll in special science class. Ang physiological, that is more on physiologic needs. SR is behavioral. Pag nakita yung SR, associative behavioral, pareho lang yun. Stimulus response behavioral and associative. 44. As a parent and at the same time a teacher, which of the following will you do to show your cooperation to PTA project in your school to be financed with the proceeds of the sales of the school canteen where food prices are a little bit higher? A, bring food for you and your children, but always make it a point to buy in school canteen. This is correct. Dapat pag member ka, patronize din. Kasi that is also, since it's a PTA project, that's also one way of helping. Buy all the food in school canteen, but request for discount. Of course, that's so bad of you. Bring food enough for you and your children, but do not eat in the canteen. Patronize nga, no? And buy all your food from the school canteen, even you cannot afford to do every day. Hindi din pwede. Okay, the best answer is letter A. 4-5, which does not belong to the group of alternative learning system, multi-age grouping, multi-grade grouping, non-graded grouping, graded recitation, education. The correct answer is letter D. That is not belong. Sa alternative learning system, multi-age. So, magkaklase ang 14 years old, 70 years old, 60 years old. Kasi di ba pag alternative learning system, this is giving a chance to those who are dropouts of school, out of school youth, to go back to school. So, multi-age grouping siya. Hindi siya homogeneous. B, multi-grade grouping. Yes, any grade. High school, second year, walang school, walang label. C, non-graded. Ang alternative learning system is non-graded siya. Walang grade na binibigay, walang card na binibigay. All you need to do is to finish the module assigned to you, and you are going to take a test. The test that is being taken by alternative systems, the alternative learning system students, is what we call A and E test. When you say A and E test, accreditation and equivalency test. Ang tawag doon is NFE, non-formal education, accreditation, and equivalency test. That once they pass the test, they can automatically go to college without question kung saan yung card. Just show the certificate that you passed the ALS, whether you are first year high school, second year high school, go to CPU or any school or university you want, show that you are already an A and E passer. And once you can present the school, you can automatically go to college. Ang dami kong estudyante na ganun, ha? And ngayon, physician na. And the other one is Air Force na sa States. Yung iba, nurse na. Bakit? Kasi naman, they pass the A&E. Hindi end of moment na wala ka ng edukasyon when you drop out from school. Kasi ang hirap ng buhay ng nanay mo noon or ng parents mo. So, nag-drop out ka muna ng school. So, nang sabi ko mag-alternative learning system. So, yung aking pamangkin din, gusto ko mag-alternative learning system, kaya lang ayaw niya. Ewan ko anong gusto niya sa buhay. Alright? 46. Which practice does not fit in a classroom that recognizes individual differences? Alright. So, ito naman. Uniform requirements, and that is the correct answer. Sharing from multiple perspective, accommodating student learning style, various modes of assessing learning. So, ang tanong, does not fit in the classroom that recognize individual differences. Iba-iba ang classroom. Bakit? Iba-ibang personality. That's what we call individual differences. Sabihin natin, class, yung bawat tao sa mundong ito is unique. Pag may nagsabi sa iyo na unique siya, sabihin mo rin sa kanya, unique din ako. So, there's no point of comparison. Hindi naman talaga dapat i-compare yung mga ugali natin because ang kagandahan sa uniqueness na yan, ikaw lang yan. Wala kang kapare sa mundong ito. Sabihin mo sa lalaki mo, mahal kita dahil unique ka. At minahal mo rin ako dahil unique ako. Bakit? Sa individual differences class, hindi naman kailangan natin yung healthy relationship can only be determined when you know how to learn to adjust to your neighborhood, your friend, your partner, your parents, and your enemy. Hindi kailangan na magkapareho kayo kasi unique ka nga. Alright? So, as a teacher, you should recognize individual differences inside classroom. By what? By sharing from multiple perspectives. By accommodating students' learning style. By having various modes of assessing learning. Bakit? There's no point of comparison to each student inside the classroom. Natatakot ako kasi may kambal ako. So sabi ko, huwag kayong mag-classmate kasi baka mag-classmate sila, yung point of comparison, huy, ikaw, bakit ang bobo mo, yung kambal mo, hindi? Huy, bakit ang talino mo, yung kambal mo, syunga? Parang nakakatakot yun, okay? But honestly speaking, a lot of teachers are doing that inside the classroom. So here, uniform requirements doesn't fit individual differences. Sabi ng teacher, bukas, Joshua, oy, Chini, lahat should wear complete uniform. Walang, tomorrow, lahat magpa-participate ng run for a cause. Walang exempted. Nakalimutan ni teacher, dalawa sa estudyante niya hindi makalakad. Paano yun? Sabi sabi nung hindi nakalakad, paano naman kami? We cannot run. So we have to be careful because a teacher can make or break the future of the children. Yung ganun din, napakahirap. Kasi yung mga teacher naman kasi, tagasalo sila ng mga problematic children from home. Mga broken families. Pagdating sa school, mga tulalay. So, yung reflection ng bahay, dala-dala sa eskwelahan. So, yun yung sabi na, kawawa naman kaming teacher. Tayo, mga guro, kawawa tayo. Kasi makikita mo talaga yung effect ng mga iba't ibang problematic home na pumupunta sa school. Merong hindi nagsasalita, isolated, hindi pumapasok, truancy, ng antisocial behavior. What are example of antisocial behavior in school? We have vandalism. Yung nag-i-invite ng sex there inside the CR, naglalagay pa ng contact number. I do not know, Emma, had you experienced that? Meron madami. Tapos ano pa, vandalism, truancy, nagliliban sa klase. And then we have gang-aged yun, nag-join sa mga gang. And for them, at that age, adolescent is quite normal. So, napakalaki ng role ng teachers dyan to create an atmosphere na problemado din ang bahay nyo, pero pagdating sa akin na teacher, mawawala yung problema mo. So napakalaking challenge ang nasa atin na you have to make individual safe and secure and free from bullying and biases. And ang kakatakot sa bullying naman, it started from home. Sa bahay pa lang may bully na. Pagdating ng school, ni-reinforce pa ni teacher. And who are being bullied? Normally those who have imperfection, physical imperfection. Yung may problema ang mata, may tabingi na mukha, madaming pimples, mataba, kagaya ko. They're being bullied. Tama ba? And then we have also bully na pandak, maitim, ganon. But as a teacher, we should encourage our student to stop bullying because it lowers the self-confidence of individual. 47. The free public elementary and secondary education of the country is in the line with the government effort to address educational problems of law. A. Access and equity. B. Relevance and quality. C. Effectiveness and efficiency. D. Productivity. The correct answer is letter A. Access and equity. 48. Teacher Benny says, if it's billiard that brings student out of the classroom, let us bring it into the classroom. Perhaps I can use it to teach math. To which philosophy does Teacher Benny adhere? Progressivism, existentialism, essentialism, and reconstructionism. Ang pinaka-biggest challenge pa rin sa atin, yung nagpe-prepare tayo ng board exam, guys, is to yung mga ism-ism na to. Kasi napakahirap para sa atin intindihin. Pag nakikita mo na yung ism, magugutom ka na. Alright? So, I will help you to understand philosophy of education in an easy way that you just remember the clue. Alright? A, progressivist. The correct answer here is, sandali. Billiard at E. Okay. Ito. A, progressivism. B, existentialism, essentialism, reconstructionism. Guys, what you answer here? Pag itong given na choices, anong sagot niyo? Reconstruct?
Reconstruct. Opo, ma'am.
The correct answer also. Tama, reconstructionist. Alright. Hindi mali yung existentialist, ha? The correct answer is reconstructionist. Discuss natin, what is progressivism? Easy understanding, pag progressivist yung philosophy ni teacher, hands-on learning. Tingnan nyo ang clue ng questions. Ang clue ng questions dapat nag-hands-on learning, laboratory learning, nag-experience yung bata. Okay? So, halimbawa sa tanong, the teacher is more on laboratory of life. That's hands-on learning. That is progressivist. Alright? Pag sinasabi na the teacher is giving a child moment to experience life, that is progressivist. Basta nag-i-experience ang bata, the real thing. Next one, letter B, existentialist. Ito naman ay hindi tamang sagot, ha? Dahil ang tamang sagot natin ay reconstructionist. Existentialism is when you are given make choices in life. So, ang teacher, hindi siya nagdi-dictate sa estudyante. Guys, ito yung advantage. Ito yung disadvantage. You make a choice. That one is existentialist. So, pag nag-iisip ka, decision-making, freedom, choices, alternative options, that is existentialist point of view. Letter C, essentialist. Essentialist is learning the basic. What you mean say basic? Reading, writing, and arithmetic. Okay? And the reconstructionism. Bakit reconstructionism ang tanong? Let's go back to the question. If it is billiard that brings out of the student from the out of the classroom, rather, let us bring it into the classroom to perhaps the teacher can use it for math. Okay? Kung walang first phrase, if the billiard that brings out of the classroom, halimbawa ang phrase it, teacher utilizes billiard to teach math, geometry at that one is progressivist. Kaya lang, ang tanong, sinabi niya sa premise niya na naging problema siya kasi may bilyaran dun sa labasan, sa labas ng school, na encourage yung mga estudyanteng lumabas para mag-billiard and cut classes. So, ginawa ni teacher na ang billiard magiging solusyon sa problema na yan. So therefore, the teacher brought billiard inside the classroom. So therefore, that philosophy is already called reconstructionist. The reconstructionist philosophy of education is when the teacher resolve issues. Kasi reconstructionist, may mga issue outside the school. Dinadala sa school and make it a solution. For example, drug addiction. Problema yan sa society. Dinadala ng teacher sa school, tapos nagiging parte ang estudyante, o gawa tayo ng campaign against drug addiction. That becomes reconstructionist. So I hope you get the difference. So basic reading, writing, arithmetic, essentialist. Making choices in life, existentialist. Experiencing learning, progressivist. Bringing societal issues to the classroom, reconstructionist. Klaro ba? Okay? So that's the reason why kasi itong mga practice test natin is just a compiled notes from internet. So yung ating answer sa internet, I tell you, most of them are mali. So that's the reason why kailangan din natin i-rationalize para correct natin yung mga sagot. Although may mga tama naman, pero may mga tanong talaga na mali. Alright? So, napaka-easy ng isang-isang na to. Just remember, experiencing, progressivist, making freedom or of choice is existentialist, basic, essentialist, societal problem issues, reconstructionist, creation, constructivist. So, napakadali lang isipin yan. So, you will be practicing more of that. Next practice test. Which statement is true about rubric? Rubric, the one that we use in assessment of learning. It is developmental, it is analytical, it is both holistic and developmental. It is holistic. Alright. Actually, rubric, madami din. May holistic rubric, may analytical rubric, may developmental rubric. O, di ba? May ganon din. So, the correct answer is both holistic and developmental. Alright? Ano itong tinatawag nating holistic rubric? Tinitest, rubric is a form of criteria. Tinitest as a whole. Ang criteria mo, gina-judge mo ang isang obra sa kabuuan. That is holistic. Basta holistic, kabuuan. Ang analytic rubric naman is you judge something or the learner based on specific standards. Okay, last item na tayo. Which is the teaching approach for kindergarten that make real-world experience of the child focal point of educational stimulation. A. Situation approach, traditional, Montessori, eclectic. The correct answer is letter C, that is Montessori. So, when you talk about real-world experiences, napakasikat ng early developmentalist. Sino ba silang early developmentalist? Friedrich Froebel, the father of kindergarten. It's actually came from kids' garden. Alright? So, kindergarten school is coming from kids' garden. Right? So, Montessori approach din yon kasi inadapt ni Montessori yung tinatawag nating kindergarten. Okay? So, that's why Froebel was known to be the father of kindergarten. Si Maria Montessori focuses more on progressivist point of view, naturalist, na makes the real world experiences. Yung tinatawag nating progressivist na they prepare their own food, they do gardening, parang ganon. They go into, they act like they are a doctor. So if you're familiar with Kidzania, so that is very Montessori approach style. So I don't agree to a lot of school who claim that they are Montessori. There are a lot of school who are book-based. Dami nilang libro. Tapos nakukuba na yung mga bata sa bibit-bit ng mga books. That's not Montessori. Because when you say Montessori, it's a multi-sensorial stimulation. When you do the eclectic approach naman is combining all the approaches in one. Okay, that one is eclectic. So traditional, of course, discipline-based, may harsh discipline para yan. dalawang konsepto ng traditional natin have based on tabula rasa na blank slate yung mind ng bata. So therefore dapat i-fill in ni teacher. So sa blank slate na yan, two concept comes in, the formalist and the traditionalist. The formalist and the disciplinist. Disciplinist is combining harsh discipline, corporal punishment to learn. Yung parang talagang may ano ka, may pamalo ka sa, o sige, memorize. Pag hindi mo na memorize, may apat na bagsak ka sa kamay. Parang ganon. So, that is disciplinist. Yung formal naman, memorization. Dati ginagawa ni namin dito, yun nung elementary kami, minimemorize yung all things bright and beautiful. Di ba ganon? All creatures, great and small. Parang dapat you have to come to school memorizing all those phrases because you will be reciting one by one in school and the teachers there calling you one by one using the class record. So that one is traditional yan. Which is ngayon, hindi na traditional. Masyado na tayong eclectic, may na style. Pero meron pa rin naiiwan na traditional. I hope mamamatay na sila and they will have a new set of teachers like you guys who will become more effective and efficient in teaching our young children. So thank you so much, guys. That's all for today. Hindi pa ako nakapag-thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you
Thank
so
you, thank
much.
you.
Sa naka-YouTube
Thank you,
natin,
ma'am.
ang sa YouTube natin, thank you so much. I guess Emma will be announcing the top and who will be getting the 30 pesos load. And those who will be makikita naman kasi namin dito sa record who got the top 3 and they will receive a global expert workbook. This one. Okay? So magbibigay ako ng award for those who top in 3 consecutive tests that we have. We're gonna check the record and I will be sending this with the books. Siguro mamaya or bukas ng umaga so that they can distribute it by weekdays. Alright? So, madami pa akong books na pwedeng pang award sa mga magagaling dyan at sa mga consistently attending the class. Saan ba kayo? Ini-encourage kayo mag-attend ng class tapos may books pa kayo. Okay? So, this is the Volume 1, Volume 2 Global Experts before we change into PCCE name. So, meron pang mga naiwan. So, that's the reason why na I have to give it away for those who are really religiously attending the class. So, thank you so much, YouTube watcher. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you, guys. Any questions so far?